Hello, folks. Raise your God-loving or godless goblet, trademark, and sit back, drink a tipple, and relax with me for about a quarter of an hour as we discuss another week in the life of Excelsior. It's going to be a return to shoot from the hip, trademark. This week I've had enough of reading Watchtower literature for a while. It makes me rather angry, and I don't like to read it that much. Luckily, in our community, there's a whole host of excellent people making YouTube videos, and there's websites where you can go and see really good analysis of just how Watchtower Ease works and just how evil they actually are. So thank you to all those folks like JW Facts and Mike and Kim, Mark and Cora. There's loads and loads of good people out there. Watchtower Examination is brilliant. There's hundreds of them. All you've got to do is type in what you want to find and you will find it, because that's the kind of community we are. And I think we need to remember that. I mean, there have been some sporadic shelling, shall we say, over certain individuals living in certain places doing certain things. And I think sometimes the shelling is appropriate, sometimes I think it isn't. I leave it to everyone else to decide how they shall act and how they will react to provocation. Personally, I'd like to see the good in people, but I do want to see errors of judgment addressed. So I like to see the best in people, but if they're doing something that's wrong, then it needs to be called out. But that's a good quality to have for ourselves as well, isn't it? Think the best of ourselves, the best that we can be, rather than the script that we were handed upon our exit from the Jehovah's Witnesses, which said you're a loser, you're a nobody, you'll never be happy, you'll never achieve anything, you're Satan's pawn. Pick your epithet about what they thought we were going to be. That's what we were handed. We were handed a script that said that nothing would go right for us, that we'd be cursed. And it's very easy to pace that prison if we're not careful, and to go back to it. Because let's face it, life doesn't always turn out the way you want it to go. Oftentimes it doesn't work out. We can do our very best at the time and it doesn't work. That's part of life. That's how all living things exist on this planet. And it's healthy to lose. It's healthy to be able to understand that that is part of life. And to not believe the hype. Copyright. The hype that the media try and tell us is that there's this group of people who live these fantastic lives and we should be like them. Well, surely if everybody lived as the elite live, that wouldn't work, would it? Who'd be hoovering the massive mansions, and who'd be tending the flower beds, and who'd be making the doodiddies and whatsits that filled that home, and a whole plethora of things? Someone has to fill the teapot and lay the pipe work and do these things, and at the moment that means human beings doing those things. But in the future we may well have machines doing those menial tasks, and we will be able to maybe go to almost an ancient model of civilization where you do have human beings at the top and machines serving those human beings. Maybe they can be the slaves. They will be machines. They won't be people. But that's for the future. I digress. thinking the best of people, thinking the best of ourselves, it's a challenge. I find it a challenge. I really do. Both thinking the best of other people and of myself. Believe me, I can be my very, very worst critic. Anyone else putting me down pales into insignificance to how I can put myself down if I'm not careful. And I think that's true for everybody out there. There's a script, they hand us a script as we leave, and they say your life's going to be rubbish because you've left Jehovah's Stick and you've left his clean organisation. And let's face it, we're all actors upon a stage, and it's much nicer to have a script to follow than to have to just ad lib. So write a new script, have a new direction, have a new destination. And that is believing in oneself, and that is not thinking you're the god of the world and everything revolves around you. Because it clearly doesn't. But it does mean recognising the skills we have. We may not have achieved what we wanted to achieve in terms of education because of very, very evil and selfish advice. That doesn't mean that we can't read things and study things for free on the internet. We don't have to go to college these days to read things. Excuse me. Scientific journals are a problem because they cost money to see, but eventually they become free after a while, or at least you get a free summary of what's going on. So you can go and look at those. There's all the opportunities there to fill any void that you feel you have. But if you can go and experience university, then go for it. Go and do it. Go and enjoy yourself. Go and experience what it's like. Because it's fun. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm glad I went. Thinking the best of ourselves and of other people. Well, that's the Christian way. If you're a believer out there, raise your God-loving goblet. Give us a cheer. Then that is what the Christian way is. We should love others as we love ourselves. And if you don't love yourself, if you don't recognise your skills, if you don't recognise your uniqueness in this bonkers, fantastic universe, then you can't love other people as you should. And that's pretty much the deal for a Christian, I believe, from my reading of the Gospel, is that you are supposed to love everybody as you love yourself. The Watchtower handed you a script and they said, when you leave you're going to be rubbish, you're going to be a loser, nothing's going to go right for you, whatever, pick your negative comment. Don't follow the script. It's an absurd script. Things go wrong for people, things don't work out. It's not a curse from God. It's not a punishment. It's just how life can be. And if you want evidence that that is the case, then go to your window and look outside. Look at all those tiny, complicated little lives that are going on in the outside in your garden, out in the bushes and in the grass, whatever you've got out there. There will be life somewhere lurking out there. There will be a profusion of life out there. And it's all struggling to survive. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the bird gets caught by the hawk or by the cat. And 1,000,001 battles are going on every second out there. That's life. Life is a bastard. It's bonkers. It's amoral. It's a bastard. It just says, I want to live. It doesn't follow rules of morality. It just wants to live. It wants to fill every space to the fullest. That's what life is. And it can be a real bastard. It can kick you in the nuts. Kick you in the nuts! And just walk away. Because that's how life can be. But on the plus side, life can be beautiful and amazing and fulfilling and fill us with a joy like no other. And that's what I wish for everybody out there, genuinely. Wish the best for people. I'd like people to have a good life, a life of dignity, a life of moral uprightness, in the sense that you don't sit there and be horrible and selfish to other people. Whatever form that takes for you, be my guest, have a good one. I personally have no need of a religion or of a belief in a higher being. It just doesn't work for me. Mainly because of all the all the massive flaws and problems. But hey, if you want to examine those things, they're out there for you to look at. I don't want to upset anybody. If you're an atheist, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a Christian and believe that the Lord was raised on the third day, I hope he was. Jesus was a lovely person, and I have nothing but respect for him. Because, as he said himself in the Bible, no one has love greater than this, than that he will surrender his life on behalf of his friends. So even if you don't believe that he was the Messiah, even if you don't believe, as I do, I don't believe that he was resurrected on the third day. I think that he was a very decent man, if he existed. And he died for his friends. Because if he hadn't have handed himself over, all of his disciples, all of his family, all of their families, all of his friends would have been dead. Even if he just did it for that reason, it is reason enough to respect him. Because that is still an amazing sacrifice. We don't need to reject Jesus. We don't need to reject his morality, although I have a problem with some of the things he said. We can still respect a man who tried to get us to look outward, to reach out and love without fear. And that's a good thing. That's a good way to be. We are, after all, one big, crazy primate family. We've spread out across the globe, and we've done amazing things. Absolutely amazing things. And we as individuals have also done amazing things. So think the best of ourselves. Let's throw away that script we were handed by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that said, you're a loser, you're cursed, your life's going to be crap. Because although I can put my hand on my heart and say, hey, my life isn't going exactly how I would like it right now. This is not where I thought I would be. Physically, in lots of different ways. But, despite all those things, I have a good life. I have my dignity. I have my intelligence. I have my friends. And if I have all of those things, and if I have compassion for other people within limits, I must say, then that's good enough for me. Things will improve because my attitude is positive. And even if things don't improve, hey, I'm alive and I'm living a happy life. It could be happier. It could be better. But it's still a happy and good life. And I'm very, very pleased about that. I hope that you can see that we need to see the best in ourselves and in other people, if we can. So it just remains for me to say, peace be with you. Excelsior!